Welcome back, y'all, for part 2 of our conversation with entrepreneur Kameron Miller.
And do you see how you're different? So, like, I guess other people would say, okay, that's really nice that you get to handle things that way. And I guess what I'm saying is that, is it a conscious choice you chose happiness? Because I know you and I got into this debate, and I was very confused the last time I was there when we were talking and you said happiness is a choice. And I was like, well, Kameron, that's not true. Like, some of us wake up depressed, and some of us are in crappy moods, and some of us get the shit end of the stick, and some of us are in chronic pain. So I'm sorry, I can't wake up every fucking day happy. And then you changed me, and then I started thinking about it going, well, if it's a choice and it's free will and we all have a choice and we get to choose our own thoughts, damn her, straight to hell. Like, it's damn her. And it is true, because I have been practicing that now. And it really does feel true that happiness really can be a choice if you let it.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the same meditation tape for a while, like Chris Carr, and every time my brain hears words differently or the things that she says. And a couple of months ago when she was like, and you have the choice to choose your own thoughts. You can choose happy, you can choose chaos, or you can choose calm. And I was like, wait, what? And
then I was like, that before.
Well, yeah, but in my brain, I was like, so going off of what Kameron was saying about the narrative is that I get to choose the words that I put to my narrative. So just because it happened in a certain way, it doesn't mean I have to give myself the gory details every time I think about it. No. And so I have a sibling who we went through the same kind of traumatic abuse, and the way we handle things is very differently. I come from a positive approach, and it's so sad for me to watch her in so much pain all the time, and to watch her carry that narrative. Because then again, who are we without that narrative? Right. Who are we without that story that have you become your narrative? So many people, like me with my chronic pain, it's like, I don't want to become my pain. So then therefore I don't talk about my pain all the time. Right. And then so what I've noticed in like a sibling or a certain person, every time you're talking to that person, that same narrative is going in a circle. So then I guess I would ask you is, how do you deal with that, since you're not somebody who believes that? Do you just not choose to be around certain people who there's a constant, let's say like moms at school or people who are going through a divorce, and that's all they talk about for like a year or two when you're with them? Or
10 years, 20 years.
Or do you get them not to talk about it, or do you just sort of ignore like the whole narrative, let them be who they are and just support them for where they're at in that moment?
That's exactly right, because it's their story. We all have our stories.
Okay.
And some people, and this is something that I'm practicing with my daughter. It is so painful. It's so painful. Like I've cried enough. I can talk about it very little, because it is that painful. And you know what I have to tell myself over my daughter, who I love more than anything. Like I always say that I gave birth to my heart, my son, and my soul, my daughter. And I was a single mom for years, for 10 years. And watching her and her choices, her story, her narrative. And you know what I say to myself, and what I say to her, and what I say to the energy of our relationship is like, you know what, Kyla, this is your journey. This is your journey. And I'm going to do everything I can to love you and protect you and keep you safe. But ultimately, if you choose a life of pain, then you choose a life of pain. And if your sister or your brother or your friends or your spouse, if their story is like, it just like my sisters, my older ones, are like, our mother did this, our mother did that, our mother did that. I'm like, shit. Well, my mother's like a 78-year-old lady who likes dogs and gardening, but their narrative, it's like Einstein's theory of relativity, the time loop, the war. I seriously, sometimes I talk to people and I'm like, holy shit, this is what he's talking about. Because they are still 40 years out. I mean, they literally have wounds from when their mother hit them. You know, my sister is like, my mother hit me with a brush. It's like, sweet girl, you are now a grandmother. You're in your 58 years old. I think that happened literally 52 years ago. But it is her narrative. And guess what? I don't have to turn on the light. I don't have to judge. I don't have to have attachment. The challenge, I think, with a lot of people is that they are so attached. They're so attached to, they walk away from people and they can feel that energy and they can feel the sadness. They can
But
feel
can
the
we
hurt.
talk a little bit about, or could you explain about, because I'm new to this, is what does non-attachment mean?
So I don't know the exact definition, but I could
No, meaning,
explain
but
it in
like for
my,
you, because the way you
uh-huh.
explained it to me, I learned it actually from you. So,
Right.
mhm.
Right. So I believe the real magic of life is you have zero attachments to outcomes, to people's energy sources, to the situation.
It's tough to do, right?
It's
It's
so
really
tough to
tough to
do.
do. It's really tough to do. But a blessing is that when you are very little and you're being abused, you can only handle so much. So your
Yeah.
body, your spirit, it leaves. So you
Leaves.
detached at a
Yes.
very early age. And I was a master of it. My challenge was actually learning how to inhabit my body again. That was my challenge because I
Yes.
was just detached as because that is how I survived, was detaching. So I had to learn to inhabit more of myself and be more present in the moment. And now I feel like I'm at a place where here's a few little things you could say. It's like, one, this has nothing to do with you. Even when people are angry and mad and yelling at you, nothing to do with you. So remind yourself of that, right?
Yeah,
It
because
has nothing to do with you.
it's literally like, let's say if someone's yelling at me, instead of taking it like, oh my God, they're so mad at me. What did I do? I don't get it. Instead of going, they look like they're in a lot of pain. They sound like they're really going through
Right.
something.
Right.
Like I've learned to do that instead of be so judgmental.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
For everybody, it is different. Getting to that place where you feel like you can detach from it, right? Like,
Right.
I went through, emotional sexual abuse growing up, and it took me a long time to let that go. And it happens in stages. But there is a point where you finally decide for yourself, you know what? I want to be happy and I deserve to be happy, because carrying that around is heavy. And I don't want to feel that anymore. It's more important for me to be happy. Would be the way that I would say too. But some
But
people,
then-
how do you do that? If you've been raped, if you've
Right.
and taking it back to when you saw your dad too. Sorry, Dina, hold on one second.
Oh, it's okay.
When you saw your dad, that might have also been one more little moment. I was just thinking for you of like,
Right.
check, yep, confirmation. I always thought, and there's my confirmation, right?
Yeah. 1,000%. It's like that could have been so painful, but thankfully I have spent enough time with my highest self. When you get to know her or him, or that piece of you, when you realize that you are like for real, when all these books that say you're creator, you're for real. You are a god. You are the creator and the master of your universe. You are a goddess. And when you have that higher viewpoint of life, and you can get that from meditating, go inside of yourself. And what the challenge is for so many people is when they start going inside, it is so fucking painful. It is
that's where the
painful.
real work is.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right?
that's the sad truth. You go inside and you hear it, and you relive things, and it is challenging. And so I was sharing with Dina, like, some things that I have done physically. It's like you sit with box of Kleenex, okay, and you can meditate on the thing or person that you like just need to get out, and just pull that just pull the tissue out, just pull and pull and pull. You will physically feel it, and learning these like mental unseen things are very,
like the
very
gold
real.
shears, disconnecting when someone's being negative. Or so I guess I wanted to ask is that, how does the mental illness thing, how does your other child not get resentful of the child going through the mental illness? And then do your children ever get pissed off at your positive disposition because maybe they want to sit in their emotions right now, and they want to feel 100% of their crap?
Yeah. So number one, my son No, he is extremely resentful. He is
Okay.
extremely resentful. He
And do
is
you
like,
allow him to feel that resentment?
absolutely.
Okay.
And toxic positivity. I will catch myself going, Christopher, but you are such a good brother and you love your sister and she loves you and you guys are so close, they're your part. It's like I will say all this stuff, right? And I catch myself because the reality is this is his feelings. He has every right to feel it. So instead, I have learned just to say, I am so sorry, Christopher. I know this is really painful. And
But
I'm
it's got to be
so
tough as a
sorry.
mom not being able to take away that pain for
You
your son.
can't. No, you
Yeah.
can't take it away. And part of my daughter's mental illness is like she's had CPS call on her father. She's had CPS call on me. She's said things about her parents that are like people will talk about, and they are off. And my son loves. He is the opposite. Like he has so much empathy, and so he's so mad at his sister. And I'm like, you know what, buddy? It's okay to be mad at her. It's okay. It's okay to feel betrayed. It is okay to be exhausted by all this. I hear you.
I
And
mean,
I'm
I
so
felt
sorry.
mad at her, and then I remember saying to you,
Yeah.
how are you not mad at her? Like, I'm
Yeah.
so pissed at what she's saying. And then you said to me, what did you
It-
say to me? You said, Dina, she's sick. How can I be mad at her? She's a sick child. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, and
Right.
it didn't occur to me that
Right.
the sickness is justifying the bad behavior.
Well, it's not a justification. It's a matter of statement of fact. It's like her father wants her to apologize. I mean, he wants her to own it. Like, yeah, he wants to talk about it. He wants to address it. He wants to get to the bottom of it. And for me, I have there's not even a piece of me that needs her to own anything other than my desire for her to get through the other side, feel what she needs to feel, understand that, part of her mental illness and the things she says, it's coming from a place that I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to fill up enough so she doesn't, grow up with the need to be promiscuous and do drugs and do alcohol and do whatever it is that we do to fill our hole. And so it's loving someone and really loving someone and honoring them at whatever state they are in. It's like, and she has
Meeting
said,
them where they are now.
yeah, she said
Yeah.
awful things about me. It's different though, because I can't even be, there's not even a piece of me that says like, don't be mad. It just doesn't, it's like, she is my heart, like my soul.
And that's what's fascinating. Is
I
that
get it.
Mama.
That's
And
mama.
it's amazing that it's just the automatic feeling. Because for me, I was more pissed, and I was like,
Right.
"Wait, what?" Like, and so
Right.
can I ask you? Because this is really important, I think, to talk about, and I think it's really helpful. What do you do to protect your child from, let's say, if people have heard where she's at, or like the internet, or has that come into play in this whole situation?
Oh my God. So I live in this South Bay where it's like very small, very incestuous, and they have these hate sites, these like bully sites where they can
What do you
post
mean?
things about people.
Wait, what's that?
It's they're school sites that kids put up online and are like
Wait, these little jerks like make their own little coding
oh yeah,
stuff,
and,
they know
and
how
it's
to
like
do
Manhattan
it.
Beach gossip, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach
Oh.
gossip, and they'll put on like the school logo, and then they'll just dump and post things about people
That is
in the closet. It is
horrific.
awful. It's awful. And while she's inpatient, while she doesn't have a phone, while she was at her worst, people are posting these things about her and talking about her and like saying,
How are you seeing all of this?
because I'll hear it from other moms. I'll hear it from Christopher.
Are they
Christopher.
judgmental towards you, or are they
So here's
supportive?
the beautiful thing. There are some parents who will not look me in the eye and they're so judgy and they believe it to be true. And it's like, the thing about having a sick kid, a mentally sick kid, is the stigma. Because if your kid has cancer or diabetes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. If your kid is mentally ill or an addict, it's like, what did you do wrong? What did you do wrong? There is a stigma and people don't really talk
Even
about
with the
it.
cutting, even also
Oh.
with the cutting, it's
Oh,
and
for
the
sure.
food issues. If you
Oh,
must
for
have made her
sure.
feel fat, or and
Right.
out of
This-
nowhere she was
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stigma to it. And so it's been a great opportunity for me because I've been able to kind of clear the deck. It's like the parents who are like, I'm so sorry she's going through. I know that your daughter and you and your family, I'm praying for you. I love you. I'm here for you. Those are my people. The other people who, like, when I went to my son's 8th grade graduation and these women would not look at me in the face, or they like avoided me, or they would walk around me, or I'd see them looking, and there's some families who won't take my son, give him a ride home because, they want to be associated with Kyla. Those are not my people. And see how easy that is? It's like, it's not like, oh, those people, fuck them.
Yeah, it's like a closed door.
Those are not my people.
Yes.
These are my people. Let's work on making the world a better place. Let's be supportive of each other. Let's be loving. Let's be kind. It's okay if you're not, if you're not, it's okay. It's not my business. Again, it's none of my business.
Don't say anything to them. Like, let's say if there's a parent who is like a good friend to you, and your kids were friends, and maybe they don't talk to you now or something. Do you say something to them, or you just let it go?
Absolutely not. I've never been one to waste my time on people that I don't believe would be open to it or understand it. I just have. I used to. When I say never, like in my 20s, I'm sure I was, right? But as I've gotten older and seen life differently, it's like I am open to talking and having amazing conversations to anyone who wants to have open, meaningful conversation. And if you don't want to hear it, it's okay. I don't need to talk to you. You know what I mean? It's like I really.
But you can't tell me that your kid is the only one going through mental health issues at that school.
God, no, of course not. Of course not. It is a pandemic, my son, he just got tested a couple weeks ago, and finally the diagnosis came in, ADHD. And I was thinking about this yesterday when we got the diagnosis. It's like, okay, so I've got 5 sisters and my brother all diagnosed and on meds, and now my 2 children diagnosed, and we haven't medicated them yet, but diagnosed, and we probably will as school gets a little bit more challenging. And then there's me. I've never been tested. I obviously, if all of my family and my children have it, and definitely I'm like, look at the twinkly lights, right? But I haven't been tested. As far as I'm concerned, our society is ADHD. Our society is ADHD. Our society is very, very sick in a lot of ways. It just is, right? And I believe that our job is to hold to the earth, to walk in the light, to make the world a better place, to get to know your truths, your belief, and come from a place of just love and acceptance, understanding.
So
right?
How do I do all that while I'm dealing with a sick kid? And then how do I balance all of that? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just so incredible and inspiring to watch you navigate through this. I mean, I wish I could take some of it away for you, but
thank you.
I have, nieces and nephews and things, and it is hard because I don't have children, and when you don't have children, you're not allowed to have opinions, right. And so it's easy to judge from the outside in. Right. I'm not saying I judge you, or I have judged lots of people. And I will say I have a different perspective now, and it seems there's a lot of young people around your kids' ages that are going through very similar things with, like, telling lies or mistruths or over-exaggerating things, or it's almost like they're trying to find who they are in this society because of such the fast-moving social media and all of the things happening. So it's like they're going to take the riskiest, most outrageous sort of narrative and go with it.
Oh, yeah.
Which is scary.
Right. It is scary. Social media is scary. Fentanyl scares the shit out of me for real. Yeah. It is a scary time. But I believe with all my heart that the darkest hour, there's also the brightest light. Like, I believe in good. I do. I believe that all of this is like, if you look at our society as a whole, because it's easy to get into the narrative of, oh my God, this is so scary. It's never been this bad.
Well, especially when everyone is saying it. Right. It's all over social media.
Right. And I just think, like, I'm sorry, how many years ago were they taking people by the millions and burning them, and the world watched.
Right.
How many years ago did we live in a society where they would drag you out, put you on a pole, and children would throw fruit at you? Like, we were barbarians. Right now, yes, there is some bumps. Yes, there is some fear. Yes, there is growing, but that is part of the planet, our earth, each other. Part of growth is the ugliness, right? It's like part of experience is to go through all of it. And so whenever people are like my family, very religious, right? Jesus is coming. This is end of days.
Oh, for sure.
When Barack Obama got presidency, they loaded up on guns. You have no idea. I mean,
Jesus has been
that's
coming
the end
since
of the
I was
world.
in 7th grade.
Oh, it was the end of the world.
Yes.
Like the fact that gays now have a voice, it's like, oh my God. And it's so interesting because as many of, those people are out there, think about the contingency of people who are just open and fluid and accepting and loving and kind. So you have a choice. Again, it's the discipline of thought. It's the discipline of action. You can choose.
Yeah. I want to go back a couple steps to as you're staying in this beautiful place, and I want to know how you specifically handle, like with a daughter who's going through things that are this dark and heavy. And like Dina was saying, she probably is testing the limits of her own life right now. And what is my narrative and who am I? I know that you come from a place of just looking at her with complete mama bear love, because how can you not?
Yeah.
But how do you, there's got to be moments, I'm guessing, I don't know, where she pushes you beyond what is acceptable. Yes. How do you maintain your Zen calmness and still keep her respect?
Yeah.
Because that's gotta piss her off.
That's gotta be hard.
That she can't crack you and you're still positive and loving. And it's like she wants a reaction for you to get emotional or mad or just crying or show her something.
Exactly.
Well, how do you hold that line with her? And I'm asking for other people out there who are probably like, how the fuck do you do it?
Right. Because it's really tough. And I will tell you, I have had moments, she's 13. I've had moments where I have absolutely lost my shit, because I'm one of those people that is like, it's okay. And then you push me and you push my buttons, and then I am going to lose my mind. I'm going to scream at you. I'm going to take your phone. I'm going to throw it against the wall. Like, I'm going to lose my shit. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I've had those moments. And when I do, I have learned and come to appreciate, because I've had those moments with my children. I've had them with my ex-husband. I've had them with my friends. When I allow myself to get so angry because I, justify it, because I take it, and then I'll snap. What you immediately do is you lose the other person and you are the bad guy. So forget about their bad behavior, forget about what they did, forget about all the little things that, like, my daughter is pushing the buttons and grinding me out. The fact that I pushed her against the wall, it's like, you laid your hands on me, you lost your mind, you do this, right? Sure. And so what I have learned to do is, when I'm with my children, I'm very, very clean. I do not drink. I don't have wine. I don't have anything, because I don't want them to, have any sort of like excuses, because I was hearing that. It's like, they say that about their stepmom. But no doubt they used to say it about me. It's like, oh, mom, you're always having your wine. Oh, well, you need this, right? So it's like, I try to take away as many excuses as I can from her. And two, it's okay to walk away. It's okay just to be. And that has been what I have learned with my daughter, with my fiance. The most exasperating thing you could do to someone is walk away. But you have that right.
Sure.
That is the worst. They just want to fucking, they are like, no,
don't walk away from me. Yes.
How dare you take your attention away from me?
Yes. And you know what? When you're fighting, when you're heated, when you see bad behaviors, right? Make sure they're safe, obviously. You want to make sure they're safe.
Right.
And then it's okay to go into your room and shut the door. It's okay to lock it. It's okay to turn on headphones. It's okay to take that break. If they're old enough to leave, it's okay to leave. You have to be able to take care of yourself. Self-care is like something that I think is so underrated, and people feel so guilty. And like as a mom, business owner, I was like, oh God, I have to do, I've got to take care of this and this and that, all the things you have to do. It's like really the secret to life is you have to feed your well. You have to nurture your well. And when you do, and when you're disciplined in that, and it goes away really quick, like there'll be like a couple weeks that I'm like, shit, I haven't done yoga. I haven't meditated. I don't think I've showered in 10 days. Like there are some times where time just will go. And I'm really, really stressed. In fact, this happened recently. It was like I came home and my daughter was a terrorist. She was so angry. It was like she was so mad that I put her in an institution. Facility. She was so mad that I took her out of that institution. She was so mad. It was like screaming and crying and yelling, and I hate you, and I hate being here. And if I just did drugs, you'll send me away again. That's what I want. She was going for it. And
testing your limits.
Oh my God. I was feeling so like I get a feeling, and it's more like it used to be rage when I was in my 20s. Now in my 40s, I'm just so tired. Yeah. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, like hibernate for a year. Yes.
And then I'm just like, oh my God, please, cancer, meteor, fucking kill me. Oh my God, like, I can't do it.
Don't say that out loud.
It's tough.
Right. Yes. And it was that day that I just was like, okay. I called Miles. I was like, okay, Miles, I need a little check. I need to get better for me. I need to clean my own house. Energetically, I am dying right now. And she is seeing this weakness, and it's just too fucking much. I'm exhausted. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry I have to deal with my ex-husband. I'm angry that I have to deal with my daughter who's sick, despite me thinking that I've done everything right. Or I everything right, but despite my best efforts, I have to deal with all this stuff, and I cannot do it. And then it was like, wait a second, unplug from her, unplug from the ex, unplug from your life, and just, it's okay to sleep. It's okay to sleep right now. It's okay to be gentle on your body. And when you need sometime it to be gentle, and sometimes you need to kick your own ass out of that bed. Go on a walk, go to yoga, eat better, take better care of yourself, even if you don't want to. This is where discipline, and this is where action comes into play. And how you get that, some people don't, and some people do. And ultimately, it's your choice. And so when she is at her worst is definitely when I feel it. I feel guilt. I feel shame. I feel like, what did I do? What did I give her? Did I give her, like, there's this book called It Didn't Start With You. And it is so good. It talks about generational trauma. And there are rats who, when they were pregnant, they smelled cherry blossom and they got electrocuted. And when their children, their little pups, smelt cherry blossom, they'd have a fear response. And when their children smelt cherry blossom, not electrocuted, smelt the cherry blossom, it would show a trauma response in their brain. It wasn't until the third generation that smell factor did not get, and that was when, the mom was pregnant. When I was pregnant, I had a birth plan because I had regressions, and I was worried that I'd have a regression. Like, I was so fearful of giving birth. Like, I wanted it to be beautiful. I tried to make everything good, but I was so afraid of, like, oh my God, what if I have a regression? I was so afraid. It's like when I would do therapy and I would get hypnotized. I'd be really quiet. I would wake up and I was, 4 years old being abused. And they're violent. Like, for me, they were really, really violent. And I heard that when you give birth, it could trigger these things. So I was afraid. And I just thought, shit, did I give this to my daughter? Is she finishing up my trauma? Right. So having a daughter who's sick, what it does to me is now I'm back in therapy, and I don't do therapy a lot. I kind of treat therapy like chemo or like surgery. Like, I go in, I do it, and then I'm done. Like, I don't want to sit and talk to someone for 10 years. I'll go in, take care of it, and be done. And right now, having my daughter be sick like this, holy shit, it has forced me to my knees. It has forced me back in therapy. It has forced me dealing with things. And I think, wow, what an amazing teacher she is. What an amazing teacher she is. And as scary as it is, because it is scary, I say to myself, do you believe fundamentally that people have their own journey? That this life has nothing to do with you and everything to do with you? Like, do you believe in the things you believe in? Okay, I'm going to give you a little girl. She's going to look just like you. And you two had an agreement. Let's see how you do. Let's see how you do. And so I have grown so much in the last 6 months, because it's been so painful. And isn't it unfair that a lot of pain comes from growth? It's like, I have to remind myself, but really beautiful, awesome things also come from growth. It's just sometimes when you're at your darkest hour, you have to kind of check yourself, and you have to remind yourself, the lessons. And so it's been a journey.
But I could hear a lot of people going, F her, like, it's not that way, like, da da da. So are other mothers resistant sometimes to your thought process, do you find?
Do you want to hear my honest answer?
Yeah.
I've never bothered to ask. I don't care.
But they've never expressed anything to you?
I mean, sometimes.
I know that I was guilty in the past of saying you have no feelings. Oh, you're hurt.
I know you have said that. I know you have said that. You've definitely said you have no feelings.
The non-attachment thing.
It's like, no, I feel.
That's funny.
No, but I didn't understand how she could not feel about something. And I was like, I don't get it. So if I'm resentful and I'm super open-minded, I can't imagine the narrative that, I know it's none of your business, that other people have slapped on you. And that's got to be sometimes a challenge to navigate. And I'm not saying that you choose to take on that challenge. I'm just saying, for other people, we're not sitting here being toxic positive and going, ooh, amazing. It's work. Like, you make it look easy, but it is work, and it is reading, it is working out, it is self-help. And I will tell you, for me, self-help, I think religion, in my opinion, not anything else, I think religion taught us not to have self-help because that's selfish. And you have to go help everyone but yourself. And that is selfish. And so when self-help and all of these things are coming along, and learning how to nurture yourself and care for yourself and talk nice to yourself and be kind to yourself, it's kind of awkward at first. And it's like, well, what does this mean? And because I'm so used to giving to everyone else, servicing everyone else, performing for everyone else. So when someone tells me to go, oh, but go take care of yourself, I don't know what the hell that looks like. So for somebody else just starting out on this journey and understanding or getting to know what self-help looks like, what does that look like? What is the subtle change, profound impact you could give for a little bit of advice for new people?
How to start with the self-care. So self-care looks different for everyone. Self-care really does. It doesn't have to be light a candle, close your eyes, and it doesn't have to. It could be salsa dances. It could be salsa lessons. It could be scuba diving. It could be learning a new skill. What is it? Ask yourself, what do you want to learn this year? Start really small. And you don't have to say, like, how do I become a Zen Buddhist priest and, feel so good about life? Don't start there, because that's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So ask yourself, what do you want to learn this year? What would feed your soul? What would feed your soul? Is it learning to dance? Is it listening to good music? Is it seeing beautiful things? Is it taking beautiful pictures on your iPhone? Is it making a photo album? Like, what is something that you want to do for you?
And it might
not
just
for
be
your
resting.
kids.
Scheduling
It
some
might
rest more.
be
Some
resting.
people in this world of go, it's like, take some time to just,
Yeah, because they feel so
Zone
guilty
out.
because
People
we've
feel
all
guilty.
been Yes, and we evolved from a capitalist society. We've all been taught to feel guilty
That's right.
about resting. So, like for me, on a Tuesday at 9 in the morning, I hear my internal dialogue going, "It's 9:30. What are you doing? What have you accomplished yet? What are you going to do with the rest of your day?" And then last year, I literally had to read a book on how to do nothing in a capitalist society, right? And so, because I had to learn that I had to stop gaslighting myself just for laying down and taking a nap on a Tuesday. And so that's been a challenge for me because it was literally beat into my head. And then I did it, most of my adult life until recent years. And so I think that it's so important for people to know that it's actually okay.
Yes.
And it's actually that people were teaching things that only they knew at that time, right? And now the world's evolved and we're all changing and figuring out what's different. So it's not to have resentment towards the church and this and that, but it's like we all, like you said, we all grow, we learn different things. And
I was going to say some of my favorite days, like when I am cooking, because I go fast, like I do a lot, I move a lot, right? And when I have some days, sometimes my favorite days are to binge watch a Netflix series, order in Postmates, and drink a bottle of wine. I mean, there's like
heaven.
It's heaven.
Self-care.
It's heaven. Now, it could be like once a quarter. And when I do it, I don't justify it. I don't feel bad about it.
Judge
It's
yourself.
like, no. So mark on your calendar, like look on your calendar the next 3 months. When do you have a day off? All right. Fucking mark that and order whatever you want and watch whatever you want. Feed your soul that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like we have created like that capitalist society. It's like, there's just ways to do things and it's discipline and it's working out and it's what, for me, it's travel. That's what feeds my soul. For me, the things I have learned, I mean, my God, a couple of years ago, I was in Kenya and I went to this Buru tribe and they're one of the last indigenous tribes in the world. And they do female circumcision. And what we hear about in the States is, it's the worst. They do it to desensitize them. They do it so they don't enjoy sex. They do it for this. They do it for control, right? Well, you go to this little tribe. Not only do the women get circumcised in age sex, the men get circumcised at age sex with a rusty knife that was forged in the valley where the gods are. And you have to do it based on age. So you could be a 21-year-old man coming home who's in the military or a teacher, and you could get circumcised and you sit and you do it in your little hut. And if you flinch, your mother gets dung on her head. It's like, and you see it. I mean, they were sacrificing goats and drinking their blood.
What's the point of it? I don't understand of getting circumcised.
Here's the point, is their culture, since the dawn of man, their culture circumcised men and women, boys and girls. They didn't start it later. They didn't, end it later. It's just culturally what they do. And, I've been to countries, I've been to Egypt, Jordan, all over Africa. I've been to Palestine. I've seen these things and I've seen, multiple wives, right? Polygamy, right? Where the men have more than one wife. And again, culturally, we look at that and we're like, oh my God, these men that you talk to the women and you talk to the men, it's like, because I'm a diver and there'll be Muslim men with 3 wives driving their boat. And I'm like, okay, so how many wives do you have? Or how happy was your wife to get another one? I mean, how exhausting must you be to deal with? And he'll laugh. Or like I got picked up last year, Christmas, we went to Tanzania. And it's like the guy gets in the car. I'm like, all right, so how many people have AIDS? He's like, oh, I have AIDS. Okay, how'd you get it? You literally like, I feel like we do such a disservice because we have these narratives of like the tragedy and the abuse and the awfulness. And you go to these places and you're like,
prejudging,
Jesus.
not you, but meaning we all prejudge a narrative in our head of like, I've seen it all on TV. And then you go and it's not the experience at all.
It's like, I have met women who have multiple wives. The first wife is the boss. she gets to choose the other one. You know, she has to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And she is like, okay, now you get to wash. Now you get to do this. Now you, you know, they help each other. Who wouldn't want to like live in a world where it's like, shit, I don't want to have sex with him all the time. Good, your turn. I need help raising the kids, right? Or like, you know, your periods is like, oh, they send you in a hut and you have to dig, you know, and you have to sit in the hut. It's like, goddamn, those lucky bitches, man. It's like when I'm on the rag, do you think Miles is like, oh, I don't have to have sex with you? Why don't you just relax? It's dirty. No, he's like, put on a towel, let's go. And it's just, we have this narrative. All of us do. And so travel has, I was not educated by education. I'm educated by travel. I see, I touch, I do, I ask questions. And then you're like, God, it is so overwhelmingly beautiful. All the cultures, even, you know, the Muslim cultures who have more than one wives, even the cultures that circumcise women.
They'd have to have more than one wife for me. I couldn't sleep with that guy.
For sure.
I couldn't.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Bring on another wife. Great.
Exactly.
Yeah, she likes the more wives. What are you talking about?
Like, who's coming in today? Great.
Yes,
Exactly. Perfect. Oh my God. On the flip side, there's some real tragic things too, but that is life. And again, it's your discipline of thoughts. It's your openness. It's how you choose to
So then when
life.
people are going through something tragic, how do you allow them to sit in that moment without being toxic positive or putting your belief system on them?
You know what you do? Here's the beautiful thing. You can't speak without thinking about it first. I mean, even though, you know, think before you speak, there's a thought that rattles around in there. And when you want to say, oh, you know what, get rid of him. Oh, you know what, it's for the better. Oh, you know what, he's had a hard life. Oh, you know, before you say any of that stuff, stop yourself. And it will maybe feel forced at first, but just sit there and say, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. How can I support you? How can I support you?
What does support for me look like for you right now?
How can I support you?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
We're so used to trying to fix it and make everyone feel better so that we don't have to sit in discomfort. Because our discomfort then becomes the main thing. And we're like, oh my God, how do I get out of this? So I'm going to make it better for them. Maybe they want to feel it. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Right. And ultimately what you're doing is talk about narcissism. All you're doing really is like a lot of times you just bring it right back to you. Like, oh, well, you know, when I was your age, I went through that. Oh, you know, when I lost my husband. Oh, when my nephew got cancer. Oh, when I went through divorce.
And then it minimizes their experience.
Right. It's like, ultimately, it's like, stop yourself from saying when I. Just take it away and see how a week goes.
I'm guilty of that sometimes still. That's a good reminder.
Yeah. Right.
I think we all are.
And you want to relate to them and you're like, oh yeah. And then you go, stop.
Right. And I do it with my kids. Like when I've been so open about, you know, my childhood. I've been so open about, because I'm super open with my kids, and I've done them a disservice being so open, because how they can feel is like, oh my God, it's about, you know, my mom. I know my mom went through this. I know she doesn't really understand, you know, it's nothing compared to what she's been through. It's like, it minimizes there. And so I have to stop myself. Like, I don't say like, I think like, what the fuck? What do you mean I'm yelling at you? Like, yelling like involves a bloody nose. Yelling involves being terrified.
A vacuum pull to the head.
That's yelling.
Ass whooping. That's what yelling and from my experience.
Right. My kids are so sensitive. If I talk like this, Mom, why are you yelling? Right. And you know,
technically that is yelling.
It is yelling.
Yes.
That actually is yelling. We just take it differently because of our experiences.
I just talk louder no matter what.
Yes. But no, it is yelling, and learning just to sit there and just, okay, how can I support you? I'm sorry that you're angry. How does this make you feel? You know, that's it.
How did you, with childhood things, because it's different for all of us, and even with the things you're going through with your kids, how did you give forgiveness? How were you able to forgive your molester? How were you able to forgive the people who have hurt you in your life?
Because I have come to realize that at the end of days, there is nothing to forgive. We agreed. I need, for for my zest of life, I want to feel all of it. I want to feel the pain. I want to feel the beauty. I want to know what things feel like. And you know what? I went to them in a soul family and I said, it's my turn. I want to feel it. And so really, honestly, I will tell you, when I realized that there's nothing to forgive, people are doing the best they can with the consciousness that they have. People are it doesn't take away what they've done. And some people need a vindication. Some people need an apology. And some people need to forgive. Like they need certain things that I just don't need, because I understand that in the big scheme of this beautiful universe, we are all connected. And we are all here to experience things, and we need all of it. You can't know light if you don't know darkness. You can't know love if you don't understand hate. Like there's certain things that we have to experience. And the people who are giving us those experiences, the ones who abuse us, the ones who leave us, the ones who cheat on us, the ones who hurt us, they often are our greatest teachers. And so when you look at it like that and you realize I forgive them, but more than that, I love them. I honor them. I appreciate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a long time to be able to get to that point. And I'm so grateful for being exposed to you and other people who think like that in therapy, because I would have been holding on to so much for so long. And I think that's where a lot of my physical pain came from, is holding on to things. So it's just so nice to have such a beautiful conversation and to have someone who's so open and honest. And thank you for sharing and for coming on and being with us.
Thank you.
So many tidbits you gave. But Ashley, is there anything that you took out of that?
Well, since she listens to Abraham Hicks, which I love, they talk about the emotional scale that you move up, like when you're feeling, and forgive me, I don't know it, but it starts with what, like fear, and then it goes to anger, and then it goes to apathy or something like that. Yeah. And I would think part of that is what you were describing as well, is just try to move up the scale a little bit when you're sitting in one of those emotions. Try to just move a little bit. It doesn't have to be going from extreme sadness to elation. It's like just go from here to find one little thing that makes you happy today, kind of thing is what I
because we all avoid that fear so much, and we really don't understand that it only lasts 90 seconds when that initial shock. But we all will go to alcohol, or not all of us, meaning lots of people in the world will go to a substance or something, or sex or something, to distract them from feeling any of that. But the subtle change, profound impact would allow yourself for 90 seconds to feel something. It's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Dina says, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes.
Or feel the sadness. Feel it. Feel it all for a minute.
Well, I'm feeling you.
Be thankful.
I know we've covered so many things, and I'm so grateful that you've been so open. And thank you for coming on. And it was so fun having you.
Thank you,
Love
Kameron.
you, girls.
So
Thank
good to
you
see
so much. Nice good morning. Love you, girls.